Hello, everyone, and welcome to Venita's podcast. We're celebrating our 34th Juneteenth parade this year. And so I have all of the June. I have a Juneteenth parade marshal, as am I myself. I have Dasha, who's going to give us the education, and then we have Joanne in the house, who's also going to be talking about. I'm sorry. Well, you know what? I'm going to let everybody introduce themselves and tell our audience a little bit about themselves and what we're going to be doing today. How's that? We also have I'm very sorry. We have Mr. Gary Stevens. He is on the line. We could not send him a link. We're going to try to zoom him in. My apologies. We weren't able to do that. So we have Gary on the phone. Say hello to our audience, Gary.
Hello, audience. I'm Gary Stevens with the Delphonics Group.
Yeah, Gary Stevens was with the original Delphonics group. Is that
Well,
correct, Gary?
that is incorrect. Um, I performed with two of the originals. The original group was two brothers and Major Harris and Randy Kane. When they left, the original lead singer, Major Harris and Randy Kane, recruited me, and I became their lead singer. So I performed with the original artists from the Delphonics, the background singers, as the lead vocalist, but I'm not the original lead vocalist. His name was William Hart.
Okay, thank you. And so you're going to be performing at this year's Juneteenth festival, and I cannot wait to see that. So we're going to start out. Since we have you on the phone, why don't you just reintroduce yourself again and tell our audience a little bit about yourself, and then we're going to go around and have everyone else do that, and that's how we're going to start out for today. So you go first, Gary.
Okay. Well, I want to start by saying how blessed I am and thankful I am that I'm having this opportunity to come back to Connecticut. I was born and raised in Norwalk, Connecticut, so to come back for Juneteenth is just a wonderful event. Something that's very special about this event with me. And let me first start. If you're not familiar with the Delphonics, the hit songs were "La La Means I Love You," "Did Not Blow Your Mind This Time," and "Hey Love." Those are the three featured songs from the Delphonics. But a funny story, well, it's a funny story, but it's a true story, is that when I was 15 years old, I had indicated to someone, one day I'm going to be in the Delphonics. And is my classmate, and he laughed at me about that. And he said, "Why do you think that?" I said, "Well, understand that my father is a pastor and taught me how to sing and play the piano at age 4. I'm singing and playing the piano, learning how to play the guitar when I was a little bit older than that. And I just had a belief that God was my father being a pastor and me being a man of God as I am today. My father, with the tools that I had, I just believed when I saw the Delphonics for the first time, I just believed that there was going to be a place there for me. Now, that was 55 years ago, and that happened for me 21 years ago. I've been doing this for 21 years. But I told my classmate, he asked me, his name was Eugene, he said, "How did you make that happen?" I said, "I didn't make anything happen. God made it happen." I trusted and believed God that one day I was going to enter that group. They were older than I am, or I was at that time. And as a result, a door opened, and Major Harris and Randy Kane, I ended up performing with them as lead vocalists. And very, very thankful that that happened. But this is probably, if not one of my most exciting shows ever, because coming home to Connecticut,
Mm-hmm.
uh, 15 minutes from where I was born and raised to perform uh, as one of the Delphonics and the lead vocalist for this particular group. It's just unbelievable, exciting, and I'm looking forward to it. And we plan to bring our A game, but just a little better than the A game because I'm at home. I'm in
That's
home,
right. There's
where I was born and raised. So this is very exciting for me.
Yes, it is. There's nothing like coming home. We welcome you back here. We cannot wait until you get here. And you are truly divinely favored by God to have that dream as a child and then, have that dream realized. That is none other than God. It gives me goosebumps just talking about it. So now we're gonna go over to Mr. Andre Whaler. Can you please tell our audience a little bit about yourself? I'm sorry, Gary.
Sorry.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. So, Andre, can you tell our audience a little bit about yourself and just reintroduce yourself?
Sure.
And why did you decide to join the Juneteenth parade, Marshall?
So my name is Andre Whaley.
Mm-hmm.
Originally from Stanford, moved to Bridgeport, and I am a local business owner. I own a company called Mobile Registration Services, which is a DMV service downtown Bridgeport. We specialize in DMV registration. So if you have a car, truck, trailer, motorcycle, boat, camper, anything that you want to register that's new to you, you can skip the line by coming to us and not having to make an appointment and just come right in the office and get registered. Um, we pride ourselves on being a five-star business on Google with over 1,200 reviews. And I pride myself on saying it's Connecticut's #1 tithing service. And we're happy to be a part of the community. We're happy to be
Wow.
a part of the community. And being a part of the community, it's really special because this is the community that made me.
It-
And it's
yes.
important to be a part of the community that made me, that made us successful. And it's moving to be able to be a part of the Juneteenth celebration
And to give back to the
and to
community.
give back to the community.
And it's inspiring to come from a community, which Bridgeport is, kind of like a humble community, and then come back and inspire, the youth that is there now. So, congratulations on your business. I wish I had known about it back in the day. I would have skipped all my motor vehicle, all my DMV lines.
We're here now. We've been around for about 5.5 years now, so
Okay.
we're not going anywhere.
Congratulations, and I'm sure with a business like that, that's a service that's priceless because time is money, and a lot of people just don't have time to wait in those lines. So that's amazing. So thank you for being here, and I
Thank you for
appreciate
having me.
that. Thanks for your story, Dasha. Um, how are you today?
I'm doing good.
Okay, would you please introduce yourself? And Dasha's going to talk a little bit about the community outreach efforts and registration.
I am Councilwoman Dasha Spell for the City of Bridgeport. I am the actual councilwoman for the West Side, which is the 132nd District. This is actually, I've been with Juneteenth. I first started out as a marshal a couple years ago, and now I am actually on a board of directors
Ooh.
for the Juneteenth.
Mm-hmm.
And being a councilwoman and working with Juneteenth, it actually gives me the opportunity to learn more about not only Bridgeport but Juneteenth and how they intertwine together. And so the phenomenal thing about this year is that with the support of Senator Herman Gaskins being able to give us a certain amount of money from the state, we were able to expand our educational piece, which is very important. A lot of people hear about Juneteenth,
Mm-hmm.
have an idea what Juneteenth is, but when you really get into the education of it, being able to do workshops, we're planning on having like an educational tent where people can come and actually learn about different aspects, including not just Juneteenth, but also like the Divine Nine, education within the city. But the biggest point and most important part is voter registration. This year is a huge year for us in the state.
Amen.
We have our governor running for reelection. We have all of our state senators, all of our state representatives, as well as our federal or our congressional leadership from U.S. Senator Blumenthal running for reelection to U.S. Senator Murphy, and then we have Congressman Hines running for reelection. So it's important not only for us to be educated about our history and our background, but understanding Our ancestors fought, were beaten, and died to have rights. And as us, as Americans now, this generation and the generation moving forward, we have to continue to use those rights. We have people in office that right now do not like us, do not support us. As you know, the White House has changed significantly since we have the new president. Previously, we had support.
Yes.
And I'm talking about we, which are people of color.
Black and brown people. Amen.
There, there you go. And so it's very important that people come out and vote because when you don't vote, you're saying it's okay for this person to come into this position and do what they do.
Exactly. And the importance of local voting
Yes.
is, it a lot of people don't even know what that's about. I grew up here in Bridgeport in Father Panic Village, single family, 7 kids, the whole thing back in the 60s. We knew nothing about local voting. And so if you're not taught that, you don't know anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
So it is so important. You just named a lot of people, and I'm sorry, I didn't even know you were a councilwoman. My apologies. It's important for our community to know how important it is to go out and vote for the local
Mm-hmm.
voting. I mean, most people just go out for, the big ones, every 4 years. No, that's not it. If you drive down the street and hit a pothole, who are you going to call? The president or your local councilwoman? And,
Mm-hmm.
try to get something done. So, the voter registration piece is huge. It's huge. You have to register, even if you haven't picked a side or you're not sure, register and give yourself the option to vote.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's at the last minute, if you decide. Because I know a lot of people are like, oh, this is going to happen, that's not going to happen. Don't prejudge anything. Just register to vote and give yourself those options. And then go out and, see if your policies line up with other, politicians that are running. And then make a decision, but don't cheat yourself out of having the opportunity to do that. And if you don't register, you're not going to be able to vote. And then find out what it takes. Like I heard something about married women, if you had changed your name, that you were going to need some additional identification. So I don't want to get into the details of that, but
Mm-hmm.
that's
Right.
one thing you need to know about. I'm a married woman. My
Mm-hmm.
maiden name is Powell, my married name is Lambert, and if I go to vote and I haven't done whatever the new law is, I'm not going to be able to vote. So
Mm-hmm.
we need to find these things out, and you're going to have a tent set up at Juneteenth or a table. What do we?
We're gonna try our best to have. It's gonna be either or, but there's
Okay.
going to be information. And the biggest thing is that, and I want to really stress this, is that what people don't realize is, and don't know because no one talks about it. Bridgeport is one of the largest cities in the state. Bridgeport is also one of the most, what's the phrase I should use, registered voters in the state.
Mm-hmm.
So honestly, Bridgeport makes or breaks elections,
Oh,
and
it's up.
people don't know that because we have so many registered voters.
Mm-hmm.
We have the most registered Democrats in the state. And so this is why, and I want people to think about this really, really, really think about this. Why do you think you have the president or elected officials coming to Bridgeport asking for your votes?
Because
Can't,
we will make that decision ultimately if we're powerful in numbers.
and we have a whole lot of numbers. So that's something to think about. But also, the biggest thing is that tomorrow we are having our kickoff, which is the Juneteenth flag raising at the Margaret Morton Center at 999 Broad Street. we would love for y'all to come out. It's free of charge. You'll get to meet some of your elected officials as well as some of your Juneteenth parade marshals from the past, present, and hopefully future, as well as we will celebrate the kickoff of Juneteenth by raising the flag.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much.
You're
And
welcome.
if you cannot make it out, there's other ways that you
Mhm.
can come and vote, which Councilwoman Dasha will let you know about. Thank you so much. Joanne.
Hi, Venita. How are you? It's good to
Hi.
be here.
It's good
Thank
to,
you.
yeah. Joanne is one of my NCNW sisters as well.
That's
So,
right.
Joanne, tell our audience a little bit about yourself and introduce yourself. And Joanne is going to give us a little bit about the Juneteenth history as
Okay.
well and some of the current events.
So I was born and raised in Danbury. Went to school at UB, never went back, married, kids. And as my kids got older, more like high school age, I wanted to do something more in the community. And I remember back in 2008, Reverend Bennett at Mount Airy had an event. And downstairs, there were several folks that wanted people to come and volunteer. One of those folks was George Mintz, and he was promoting Juneteenth of Fairfield County. So a friend of mine and I went to the event. We went to one of the meetings, and at the time there was a change of hands. So the second president of Juneteenth of Fairfield County was getting ready to hand over the reins to George Metz. At the time, he finished his lead and he handed over the reins to George Metz. George held a election, and at that time, I was voted in as the vice president of Juneteenth of Fairfield County, and I still am. But I want to go back a little bit further than that.
Hmm.
Prior to that, I want to tell the story of we call our grandmother of Juneteenth of Fairfield
Please
County.
do.
And that started back in 1992 with Miss Cynthia Griffin. She read an article about Juneteenth that was done out in Galveston, Texas. And her vision was, well, if they can have a parade, why can't we? And that was the start back in 1992. And I believe the first president of Juneteenth of Fairfield County was Joanna Ortiz. And then it transferred over to Jeff Baldwin. And then eventually, when I came in back in 2008, it was George Mintz. And then at the end of COVID, coming out of COVID, then it was Deborah Cavanis. Since then, I'm still the vice president. Deborah Cavanis is now the president.
Hmm.
And we've been doing a lot of good work. We started off doing, I remember with George and with Deborah, and then eventually we had to move everything down to Seaside Park. We were doing the festival down in McLeavy Green. We outgrew it.
Yeah. Yep.
When we moved the parade as well as the festival to Seaside Park, there was an explosion of turnout
Hmm.
of folks. We had over 2,000 folks that attended. Now we're somewhere between 2,500, 3,000 folks that come out annually. And I'm expecting to hit at least 3,000 plus because we have the Delphonics coming to do a review.
Yay!
So we're all so excited about that. It's just astronomical how much Juneteenth has grown. We have added different events like the boat cruise, the Freedom Cruise, and some other things. But that's how I got involved. And I just get very passionate about when I talk about Juneteenth because we're really there to really educate our folks. It's not just education around Juneteenth. It's education around voter rights, education around different topics depending on what's going on for that year. And especially now, this is a year of, how can I say, elections. A lot of folks will be in the parade.
Hmm.
A political, folks will be there, and we welcome that. We really like to show a good support for these folks because these are the folks that go back to Capitol Hill and to Washington to fight for our rights here.
Exactly. We have a really lot of good people on our side. And, every single vote counts.
Sure does.
I've sat with politicians that have won elections by 15 votes, 7 votes. right here in Stratford. We've done shows with them, and they're like, every single vote counts. And don't dismiss your vote. Oh, we have enough, and don't assume
Mhm.
this is going to happen. And this election is just so important. If you
It sure
don't
is.
like
Mhm.
what's going on, this is your opportunity to change it. We can do it. As Councilwoman Dasha has already mentioned, Bridgeport, we have the most votes. We are the largest. And we will, determine, who fights, who goes to Washington and fight for us, or who goes to Washington and fight against us.
Right.
So don't, you know,
Mhm.
don't take that for granted. And getting back to the Delphonics, Gary, still with us?
I'm still, I'm enjoying every second of this. I wouldn't dare leave.
Oh, this is phenomenal. I am so happy and so excited to be a part of this entire Juneteenth celebration. I will never forget the year because my son was born in 1992, my firstborn. So I always know how many, what number we're on. He just turned 34 in May, so we're on the 34th. And at my age, I need those little reminders. I really do. And I can't tell you how proud, I am to be a part of it, to have been asked to be a parade marshal. Right, Andre? It's just,
It's incredible.
it is. It's an honor. You feel, I walk around with my proud, sash on. And, I'm proud to be a part of something, like Joanne said, that's much bigger than I am. And, something I want to, give back to the community. Like, help someone that was brought up just like I was, or, somebody that was lost. And, you know, it's just amazing how God has
Mm-hmm.
turned my life around. I mean, I always tell people, and I joke about it, but it's kind of like a serious joke. I'm lucky to be alive. And because of the things that I've gone through, where I grew up at is only by the grace of God. So it's nice to be sitting here in front of inspiring people like Mr. Gary Stevens
Yes.
with the Delphonics. I listened to your anthem, and you asked me to give you an honest opinion. I couldn't
Absolutely.
find one part of it that was better than the other. It was simply beautiful
Mm-hmm.
and unique. I don't know if you guys have heard it or not, but it is absolutely, and I don't know if you're doing that at the festival, but you should. You really should.
I
That
did speak
it
with,
was amazing.
thank you so much. I did speak with Deborah about it. I would love to do the anthem. But if I could just interrupt for a second, I want to encourage young people to take a look at what the red, the black, and the green, what that is all about, and
Mhm.
understand the significance of Juneteenth. And today, all of us are doing what we are doing today, young folks. I'm talking to the young folks because someone took an interest in us, and then we
Mhm.
took an interest in ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And as a result of that, we are where we are today. We still have a long way to go. I'm going to say this, and somebody might not like it, but I'm going to say it anyway. Our president put our previous president in monkey suits.
Mhm.
I thought we had come a long way. We're still on our journey. We're still on this journey. We're still on this journey. And but I want to recognize that we are not animals. We are not apes. We are not people in monkey suits. We are people of value. We are people of God. We are women and men who are still striving to get what God has what God has given us in terms of
Mhm.
us having some prosperity in our life and us counting on God. And for me, that's how I got to become one of the members of this group, counting, believing God, and then putting the work in. See, it doesn't happen without the Deborah Cavaniss of the world. All of you folks that are there, man, I'm just so proud to be a part of this. It takes everyone that's on this show to encourage. And the young people, that's where it is. They are young. They need this
Mhm.
encouragement.
Mm.
So I am blessed to be a part of this. I cannot wait to arrive in Connecticut. Any needs that you guys have, please call upon me. Deborah knows where and how to reach me, where I'll be staying. And I want to do whatever I can do to be a part of this vision that was just going to be bestowed upon Connecticut on June 13th.
And I would just like to add something to what Gary said. Now more than ever, we really need to take our young folks and teach them. I'm a big believer in learn one, teach one. What we learn, teach it to our younger folks. A lot of folks, well, there's, I shouldn't say a lot, there's some folks in Congress that's trying to erase our history. We have to stand up and make sure folks know we come from a heritage of scientists. Now we can say a person of who have gone to the moon. Doctors, lawyers, inventors. We need to make sure that our young folks know this information, and more so now than ever, we need to keep our history intact.
I would also like to piggyback off that and say that yes, we come from all those great people and that great lineage, but sometimes there's no local representation or representation in our family. So it's important as young business owners in the city of Bridgeport and around to be the representation that we need for our young people so they can see that there's someone like me that can be that over there. And it's always important for us to pour into the youth so that they can see and know their value from a young age. That they know they can grow up to do anything that they want to do. And just like that, so you can see Senator Heron Gaston. Over there, they can see Deborah Kavanaugh. Over here, these great leaders, these great pillars in our community. You can be that and more. But it also starts with us recognizing and understanding and learning about our history, but also seeing the present and being the present leader that we need to have in our kids' faces so they can see who they can be in the future.
Exactly.
Amen to that.
And that gave me an actual perfect kind of idea when we're talking about education. So I come from a family, my family is from the Carolinas, right? And so we have family reunions every year. And the one thing that I appreciate about the reunions, they always go back and tell the stories. They tell us about the history, about my great-great-grandfather who was a slave, who decided that one day I'm not going to be a slave no more, and I'm going to own land, and that I'm going to make something for my family and have a legacy. And I think that's something also that not only this year, but moving forward, especially those of us who are parade marshals, board of directors, that's our legacy that we can live on with the youth, encouraging them that you can do anything you put your mind to, and that you have us as your support.
Right.
That's right.
That's right.
And that's the biggest thing, is that a lot of times the kids don't know what adult they can talk to, who can they be comfortable with, and that's where we come in and we support that process and we help with that legacy. I think of our Juneteenth festival and parade as the family reunion, us getting together,
Yeah.
sitting down,
Exactly.
talking. It would be great if we had a moment with the godmother of our Juneteenth sit down and tell a story or two of her experience. Because the whole thing is that one thing people forget is that it's okay to be a fighter. It counts on how you fight and what you're fighting for.
Exactly.
And
right.
and it goes back to the education, but it also goes back to the history. And we got to learn our history.
And that comes from sharing stories from, you know, the grandmothers, the great grandmothers, and you just keep on passing that information down. And I just wanted to make one remark regarding erasing our history. I think that would be an impossibility at this point. You know, it with technology and the power of black and brown people. So think about this. They couldn't erase us or our history when we were slaves. Think about how difficult that would be now with resources, with technology, with, you know, Google how many black billionaires there are with money. And then think about that with other people. Other Caucasian people that don't believe in erasing our history. Like I will tell you, I have one of my very best friends is a I call her a rich white Republican girl, rich girl, because she grew up in Monroe in a big house with a yard and money and all that stuff. And I grew up in the village and I'm a Democrat. We've been best friends for over 4 decades. She goes to No Kings, what do you call it, rallies. And she's trying to get me to come on, V, and fight. This is wrong and blah, blah. She's Republican, but she's not hateful. So
Right.
there are so many other people, other white people that are fighting for us, Democrats and people that don't believe in what the other side is doing. And I always know that, love will conquer all. I just believe that.
And
And
there's
as
a
long
lot
as you believe that and live that and teach that and preach that and inspire that, it's always gonna prevail.
and love is a lot stronger than hate.
It is. It is. And hate, think about that for just a second. If I'm sitting here and I hate Councilwoman Dasha, does she feel anything? That's inside. That's me hating. That's an emotion that is self destructive. It hurts from within. And you might get a little joy out of it right now with, a little DEI or whatever. That's nothing. All that can be changed. And I think, sometimes when one door closes, like the DEI and the people that lost their jobs and stuff like that, what's going to happen, what I think is going to happen with that and what I want to happen with that is that we take that and start our own businesses like Andre did and like I did, and it doesn't affect us. And once we start to support one another and let that black dollar stay in that community longer than it has, pay a little bit more. It's gonna take a little bit more, pay a
Right.
little bit more, and it will come back like Joanne said, pay forward.
Pay it
You know,
forward.
we have got to support one another. And I'm not talking about, just stopping everything you're doing now with the businesses that you have set up and the contracts that you have. I'm saying start something new. Make a new commitment to yourself. Just say as of 2026 July 1st, I am going to start buying my clothes from a farmer that, a black farmer, cotton farmer, or I am going to start going to farmers market, and just get part of my groceries if I can't afford to buy it all.
Right.
You got to make a commitment to support one another. And then one other thing I want to say, I know I'm getting kind of long-winded. Sorry, maybe I should have been a preacher, but is
Never
the
know.
family. Well, my father is and my brother is, but I told him I wasn't. The family. I believe I'm a family-oriented person, and I believe that it starts with the family, the husband, the wife, or the father and the mother. And there's all different types of families. I mean, some people stay married forever and some people don't, but that doesn't mean that you can't still be a father to your son if you live across town. Or, there's all different types of families. And we need that support. I believe in my heart, that's where it starts. We have got to start supporting our black women because we're stereotyped. There are so many single black women with kids, and that's it. I mean, I'm just calling it like I see it, like my mother was. And so I think that once we start to build from the inside, then it's going to just sprout out. We're going to be successful if we just make a couple of changes. That's what I think. And that's what Juneteenth kind of represents for me. It's bringing all of us together, celebrating all of us, loving all of us. We need to be doing this every single day. I see a lot of things, a lot of black on black and one pushing them back, and but we need to stop that. We really do. So that's my little take on what I like to say. So
Venita, you are so right. Juneteenth is just not on June 19th, it's year round.
every day, every day,
Yes.
every day. And so we're going to be celebrating it. And I just want everybody to come out and enjoy Gary Stevens and the Delphonics. I know you're going to put on a show, rain or shine, but we're going to pray for sunshine. And we're going to be having it at the beautiful Seaside Park It's going to be on June 13th. It starts at 10 a.m. to 4, I believe. Uh, ma-
No,
11 to 5.
5.
okay, 11 to 5. You get there early, just get you a good parking spot or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to need to get there early.
And I
If
just
it
want to
starts at 11.
just want to add there will be free parking for the event.
Free parking at Seaside Park. And Seaside Park is such a beautiful park. Gary, when you get here, I mean, make sure you take it in. It is a beautiful, beautiful park. It
Come
really
hungry.
Very
is.
excited
Come
about
hungry,
it.
lots
Can I
of
just
food,
mention
lots of
one
vendors.
thing that I think are very important for me in my life? When I learned these two terms changed everything for me. One of the terms is forgiveness. We have
Mm-hmm.
to forgive the people for the things that happened prior to us even being here, and accept where we are now. So forgiveness and acceptance, and allowing God to give you the ability to exercise both of those, to me, is just so important.
Right.
Who have you forgiven? Who have you said I'm sorry to? And who have you accepted that's different than yourself and told them that you love them? Those things are so critical to us moving forward. And I just had to share that.
That was very, very insightful to do that, because a lot of people cannot forgive. And when you hold on to that anger, it only hurts you. It's self-destructing, just like hate and envy and all those other jealousy and negative emotions that you have. When you forgive someone, and it's hard to do it, but
Mm-hmm.
it takes about 20 seconds to forgive someone, and then you start to heal. It's amazing. Like, you really feel the weight comes off your shoulder. And I get up every morning and I thank Jehovah for everything, you know, and I am just always grateful. And I forget. I don't have a single regret. I could say I don't hate anybody. I don't dislike anybody. Yeah, I get mad at my husband occasionally, but it's not anything serious. It's like, why did you eat all the peanut butter and leave this empty jar over here? So, any last words before we wrap up our show here today? I just want to say thank you to everyone that's here today: Joanne, Councilwoman Daja, Andre, and Gary Stevens of the Delphonics. We can't wait till you get here. I want to thank you guys so much for taking part in this podcast and sharing your stories with us. It means the world to me.
I just want to say knowledge is power. So definitely learn one, teach one, pass the knowledge on because knowledge is power.
Yes, it is. Thank you.
I think the last thing I want people to remember from this conversation is that the world is open and it's your choice to step into it.
Hmm. Thank you.
My last statement would be to get involved. Get involved and find a place where you fit. The
Exactly.
world needs you.
And I just want to remind everybody that we still live in the best country in the world.
Mm-hmm.
We can change anything, we can do anything, and we could be anything. So remember that. And I hope to see everyone at the Juneteenth parade on June 13th at 10 or 11 o'clock. Just come down there
11.
early and stay all day long. So, thank you everyone for joining us. This is Venita's podcast, and I hope everyone have a blessed day.
Thank you
Thank
again.
you.
Thank
Thank
you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much for having us.
You're
Yes,
welcome. Talk to
thank
you
you.
soon, Gary.